What's up guys and welcome to CF Rides. So I'm doing this impromptu video because the new 2018 Ford Mustang has just been released. It's called the refresh version of the Gen 6. So I am doing this impromptu video in front of my 15 to 17 model GT in order so that you guys can kind of see some of the changes to the new Mustang. So I have some pictures here that I'm going to roll as I speak. So you can see the new update to the Mustang, and then I'm going to do a walk around of my car just so those of you who aren't as familiar with the new car really get a sense of what has changed for this refresh of the Gen 6. So here goes. I'm going to read some of the new things about the Gen 6 and roll some photos. So with the 2018 Mustang EcoBoost and GT Gen 6 refresh, you get a 10-speed automatic transmission. The Magna Ride dampers from the GT350 are now on the EcoBoost and GT, which brings me to my next point, and that is the V6 was canned. There is no more V6 as far as we can tell at this point. So this raises a few questions in my mind, which are, with the V6, you could turbocharge it, make a good amount of power, and they're really cheap, right? They were even cheaper than the EcoBoost Mustangs. So I'm wondering what option do people have that don't have a ton of money to spend on a GT or something along that lines, but still want a fast and powerful Mustang, which is what you could get with the naturally aspirated V6 engines. So those are gone. So those of you who are hoping to spend a little bit of money on the V6 and turbocharge it, or do all those cheaper mods to a car to get the power and the speed without having to spend all the money, you don't have that option anymore. You either get the GT or you get the EcoBoost, which is already turbocharged. So I think that's kind of crazy. I'm sure Ford has their reasons. Maybe it just didn't sell, and maybe a lot of people weren't looking to do what I was talking about. Either way, it's gone. It's out of here. So let's see. Some of the really cool new interior options for the Mustang is that it has a 12-inch screen that acts as your gauges, which is what you see in most sports cars, such as the Corvette nowadays. And that's a real big point about this new Mustang. It's moving further and further away from muscle car to sports car. It's becoming, dare I say, more European in its look and stance and features and options. It's not just going to be good in a straight line anymore. It's also going to be great around curves. And well, I think that's a great thing. It's also very un-Mustang-like. As far as the interior goes, they're trying to upgrade it in the sense that they're adding more leather to the center console and more aluminum bits on the inside. Not a whole bunch changing there. It's going to pretty much stay the same except for the display gauge, which I said is just going to be a 12-inch screen. I'm really looking forward to that. That's going to be really cool. They are bringing over a lot of parts from the current GT350. Like I said before, they had the Magna Ride dampers that are going to be brought to the GT and the EcoBoost. And then for the GT, they're also going to bring wire arc sleeves over from the GT350. So maybe some handling bonuses there for the new GT. Anyway, I want to talk about the looks of the car real quick and how they differ from the car that's sitting behind me. The back end definitely looks a lot more aggressive on this new Mustang. It looks as though they're going to have a quad exhaust for the GT, which I'm really kind of bummed about. That if that's going to come standard, I miss out on that, and I'm kind of bummed because I can't have a quad exhaust since this is the base model. Really bummed about that. So the back end looks great, no problems. Coming over to the front end, I like it. What I think is going to happen is that is the exact same thing that happened with this Mustang behind me, and that is that people are going to say, it doesn't look that aggressive, it looks weird, it doesn't look like a Mustang, but it's going to slowly grow on them, and as they see it in person, they're going to grow to like it more and more and more. And I really think that's going to happen with this car because it is super sporty, it looks more European than ever, and I really do think people are just going to acclimate to it, and I like it a lot more. However, I really don't like what I've seen in pictures of the bottom grill on the front end of the car. It looks like a plastic one off of the deceased V6 from the 15 to 17 GT. It looks plastic, looks tacky. Not a fan. Hope they change that. I'm sure there's aftermarket options, but still looks really cheap for a car that you're spending, $35,000 on. Not a big fan of that. Anyway, I'm going to do a walk around now of the car to show you the big parts of the car that have changed. I hope you enjoy. Anyway, I'm going to do a walk around of the car right now to show you some of the big parts that have changed. As we look at the front of the car, we can see that where the fog lights are on my model, they've been changed into what seems to be a vent that pumps cold air to the front brakes, which I think is really cool. Should help with the brakes and the handling aspects thereof. Now with the front lights, as you can see, they've been changed. Don't think that'll really do anything to the car except for change the appearance. As we move into the hood, you can tell that the hood vents have been changed quite a bit. I don't know, not a big fan. I think these look more integrated with the car. I think the other ones were tried they tried to make it way too aggressive, and it ended up looking something like this. Anyway, as we move around back to the car, we see that the back here is just one solid piece. Dual exhaust. Nothing really changes. As you can see, mine doesn't have a spoiler, but the one in the photos does. Not a big fan of the spoiler. Looks kind of tacky, kind of plastic, but I am a big fan of the potential stock quad exhaust. As we step into the interior, we can see that we have the 2 gauges here, which I've always been a fan of, but I am expecting the new 12-inch screen that's going to replace this entire area to be much cooler, and kind of bummed that I missed out on that. Well, that does it. I hope I was your source of news for the new Mustang. Let me know what you guys think about it, about the new car down below. I have mixed feelings on it, but I do think it's going to be a big hit, and there definitely are some features on it that I wish I had on this baby behind me. So, like, comment, subscribe, and just remember that every time you do that, it helps us to raise funding and awareness for a cure for cystic fibrosis. Thank you, and I will see you next video.